Let's compare the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra with the Dreametech X40 Ultra and see which is going to be the best RoboVacuum of 2024, because both of them are going to be priced accordingly at close to $2,000 each, and they're both going to have a lot of AI features as well as some of the best mapping and robo mopping features you're going to find on the market today. However, with the integration of AI, the actual effectiveness of your RoboVacuum is going to be determined specifically by the algo pathing and how well the AI recognition is going to recognize objects in front of it and the best way to avoid them. Secondly, the self-emptying bins have gotten so advanced because they're not only going to be able to wash your mop pads, but they're also going to be able to remove them in the case of the Dreametech X40, and they're going to be able to use hot water washing as well as hot air drying in order to increase the effectiveness of your mop pads. Then the mop pads on both the Dreamebot as well as the Roborock are going to be different, because the Dreamebot is going to be using spiral or at least circular mop pads that are removable by magnets, and the Roborock is going to use something called the Vibrance 3.0 mopping, but the Vibrance is going to be pads that you're going to be attaching directly and that are attached by Velcro. So the machine on the Roborock is not going to be able to remove them on its own. With that said, it is very subjective which machine you're going to prefer, because it's also going to be determined by what's inside of your house. The Dreametech X40 Ultra, right out of the box, I didn't have to change the map. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to move anything. I didn't have to set it up properly. I just put it down on the floor and it was able to mop and vacuum my entire home, every run from beginning to end. It has not had a failed session yet. But the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra, I've been using it for over a week now, and I've actually had 3 failed sessions because it has one specific problem. The AI detection system is not great at detecting fringes. So if you have a carpet or a rug that has fringes, or you have a blanket that you're putting over your sofa that has fringes, or it's just a blanket, it could get caught inside of the Roborock. And that's something that actually prevented my Roborock from finishing its first session, its fourth session, and actually it's not prevented it from finishing 3 different sessions. And that was surprising because almost every other obstacle that the Roborock was thrown at, it was able to handle it, and it did a good job with it. And a large part of that is because of the RGB AI systems in both. So the Dreame X40 Ultra is using RGB AI with 3D structure lights, and the S8 MaxV Ultra is using 3D structure lights with infrared imaging. So there's a difference there, because the Dreame X40 is going to be better at identifying colors. It can have more information at identifying objects inside of your home. So if you look at the map that it's generating, it's actually going to be able to correctly identify, to the best of its ability, what's a chair, what's a table, what's a sofa, what's your TV, what's your refrigerator. It can start doing these things because it can compare a picture of it to something inside of its database. One of the biggest benefits of the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra is that it comes with probably one of the most advanced AI voice controls you can get. It's always listening though, so you might not be interested in using it because it's going to listen to you like your Alexa. And do you want multiple devices in your home listening to you, especially if you need to control them? Because when you have them side by side, I know that some people are partial to the design, but to me, they look pretty comparable in terms of the overall design. One is going to be using some metallics and they have more of a matte finish, while the Roborock is going for two-tone, very similar to your Jeep Cherokees. If you're looking at the overall width between both units, you'll see that it's not so much that the Roborock is much thicker, it is just that it is wider, while the Dreame is taller. So that's some of the key differences here. Remember, the Dreame is taller and the Roborock is wider. In terms of overall obstacle crossing height, you get 22 millimeters on your Dreame X40 Ultra, and you get 20 millimeters on your X8 MaxV Ultra. So pretty similar in terms of the obstacle crossing height. Where you do notice more of a difference is going to be in the features of that mopping. So if you're taking a look at the features of the mopping, that just means we have to turn it upside down and show you the mops. And here we are. Now on your Dreame X40, these are removable, and that's key here because you can remove them. Not only can you remove them, but your clean station can remove them so that you can decide well, do I want it to just do mopping or vacuuming or just vacuuming? And then it will attach or reattach these, especially when they're wet. The secret for me after using the Dreame X40 for 3 weeks now is that if you don't want them to mop and you're going to be doing or using your RoboVacuum on a lot of carpet or rugs, just have it remove these. So you don't have to mop every day, but you can have it vacuum every day. So that's in contrast to the Roborock where there is a mop pad, but it does take a lot more work to remove it. So you can see it is going to be attached by Velcro, and that's not the same as something that's attached by magnets. So there's more work to remove them. This is also going to be less thick, so it's going to be less absorbent, but they do give you this updated side brush roll here that's going to be helping with the mop extend features as well as to clean on its edges. Nevertheless, you can notice that these type of mop pads, not only do they have mop lifting, they have mop extend and mop removal. These are all features that are missing from your S8 MaxV Ultra. So as a mopping unit, this can cover less square footage because this will get saturated. You have to dry it. It takes longer and it's not going to do as good of a job in my opinion, even though the Viberize 3.0 is probably more powerful because the clean station and these are not removable. It doesn't have better performance, and that's the key. Just like you do with your Alexa, most people won't use that hierarchy type of feature here. We say that on the EcoVac. I don't know many people that use it, at least in the US, but maybe where you are, you will be more likely to use it. In terms of battery capacity, you have 6400 mAh on your Dreame X40 Ultra versus 5200 mAh, so you get more battery life on the Dreame. However, in terms of overall battery life, they both come down to about 180 minutes. So those are going to be the two cameras for the reactive AI on your Roborock S8V. And that's because the V stands for vision, and that's why it corresponds to those cameras that have the AI object detection. If you look at the object detection on the Dreame has even more cameras, more sensors, because it can see things in 5 color. And I do think that the light here that you see up top versus on the bottom, if you look at the lights here, there's a light going to be on the bottom of your Roborock, on the top of your Dreame, and both work well in order to identify what is in front of it, especially if it's dark, like underneath a cabinet or a sofa. If you take a look at your LIDAR systems, there's going to be your LIDAR system. That's going to be the radar. And here is the LiDAR navigation on your Dreame. And if you're looking at the finishes, you'll notice that your Roborock is coming with this piano black finish with the matte. And some people like the contrast. I'm not a huge fan of the contrast. This just gets dirty for me really fast. Versus on the Dreame, which is completely matte all the way. And the finish is very nice. It's just a little bit more premium looking in my eyes than on the Roborock. Next up, we have our clean bases between our Dreame and our Roborock. Now remember, the Dreame has the self-washing mop pads and it can clean its own base here. So this is removable and you can clean it, but at the same time, this is something that the machine itself will clean regularly. So it cleans its own tray. That is in contrast to the Roborock, which also will clean, but it's not the same. You have this type of pad here in terms of the drainage, but it's more of a crevice. There's not as much going on, and that's because it uses a flat pad. And here is where you see a lot of this cleaning going back and forth. And this is where your side brush roll is going to be cleaned. Some of the biggest issues with your Roborock is that even though it uses hot water washing, and it should be able to get warm, maybe up to 130 degrees, in all execution, it only gets up to about 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're waiting to see if they're going to be able to fix that in a firmware update for their station. And that's in contrast to the Dreame, which actually does get very hot and it does do a good job cleaning its pads and drying them faster than what you actually expect. So that's very interesting. Now let's look at the auto dispensing part. I do like the design of the Roborock. They have everything up top. It's a little bit wider than your Dreame, but it is a very good looking unit. You have a light here and you could take off that cover, and that's just a cover. Secret that a lot of people don't know about their units, and let's just take it off the Dreame, is that even though they have bags, and both bags are going to have different capacity, you have a 3.2 liter dust bag capacity on your Dreame X40. You have a 2.5 liter dust bag capacity on your Roborock. And even though this system both is very similar, you have your detergent here that you can just pop out and add detergent to, and it's going to auto feed itself. And that's very similar to your Dreame, which also has the detergent bay, and that's going to auto feed detergent into its mop pads as well. If you look at the sides of these, even they are very similar. They're just differently shaped. So not a huge difference in terms of the bag setup here. So both are going to be using bags. They're not going to be bagless like you get on these Sharks, but it also means it's going to do a better job containing and keeping all of that debris trapped inside. So now the true war for best robo vacuum is no longer in just the vacuums. Remember, they are fighting in the clean bases because these clean bases are getting more and more advanced. Here, I do love how everything packages well in the Dreame X40, and it has a large tank system up top, so you have your clean water and your dirty water. Very simple. Now, it's also very similar to what you get on the Roborock, because the Roborock also has a 2-tank system. So here is going to be your dirty water, and you can pop that out. It's flat, and here is going to be your clean water, and that's flat as well. If you take out both of your containers, you'll notice there is a big difference. Here is wide and flat. So it's not going to be very tall versus on your Dreame where the containers are very tall. Now comparing both of them side by side, you see that the Dreame is going to have a much taller tank. It's also clear versus the opaque tank you get on your Roborock. And the Roborock does come with a easy to take with you handle. And if you want it to open up, you just pop it open, and that's going to give you direct access to the water. This is basically a water holding tank. Same thing on your Dreame. The Dreame, just going to add the water in, and it works very well. So if you're taking a look at the dustbins, this is pretty straightforward. Now, the top cover, and this is something that irks me. Roborock is using a piano black, so this is going to be very prone to scratching and fingerprints, as you see. Anytime you touch it, it will get a fingerprint. So I don't love piano black, but that's something that Roborock just chose as a design choice. And if you look at the Dreame, it's matte. So this is going to be more Apple-esque. They both come with their own bins. This is going to be that 270 milliliter bin from the Roborock. It's on the side here. And this is going to be the bin for your Dreame X40. This is a 300 milliliter bin, so not that much bigger, but still bigger. You can see the LIDAR navigation is going to be up top, as well as you have a button for Wi-Fi and for reset. So if you're looking at the height of these mop pads, you'll notice that the Roborock is slightly higher, and that's because it's coming with a mop lifting ability of 20 millimeters, or it's 0.78 inches. The Dreame is only coming with a 10.5 millimeter or 0.4 inch mop lifting capabilities, and that's because its mop pads are thicker and they're going to be attached and they can be removed. So just because the lift is not the same doesn't mean there's not more functionality on the Dreame, because they're related to its performance. So this is our Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra. We're going to do a quick run. This is just a LiDAR test. We just reset it and we're having it map out our home again. It's going to be very good at mapping out your home because LiDAR is really good. Now, it's not exclusive to Roborock. The LiDAR on the Dreame is also going to be very good, as well as if you get other LiDAR systems, like even from the Shark AI. And that's because LiDAR can see farther, it can see through walls, and it can also be good at detecting height when combined with the 3D structured light systems. Both the Dreame and the Roborock should be able to finish mapping out your home within 10 to 15 minutes if it's about 1,000 square feet, and it's going to be fairly accurate. It gets even more accurate as you use it more and more. After the first session on both, it's going to let you know where the rug or carpets are, and it's going to ask you some questions in case it has questions about which object is in front of it, and it can identify it using its AI detection system. But the Dreame is going to do a better job at identifying more and more different objects, as well as correctly identifying them from shoes to chairs to tables. Something that the Roborock does, but it doesn't do it to the same degree. And if you look at a simple map that it creates, there's a lot less objects or obstacles that it correctly identifies relative to the DreameBot. Now, if you look at the Roborock pathing, it is also going to be slightly different because it first does the edges and then works in an orderly row system, which is quite typical for robo vacuums. Now, the Dreame has a slightly different system because it has those mop extend pads. It actually will, all things being equal, I will say that the Roborock Viberize 3.0 is a good mopping system. It does a good job, except that the side brush is so small that it's not quite as effective in terms of corners or underneath your cabinets as the Dreamebot X40. So that's not a knock on the Roborock. I think for flat surfaces, if it's just mopping, it does a great job. But the pad itself is going to get saturated faster because it's thinner, and it's really only for about 200, maybe 300 square feet before you have to send it back to its base, and it has to wash it and then send it out again. And even when you wash it, because the hot water washing is not going to be as hot as the Dreamebot, and the Dreamebot is going all the way up to about 150 degrees versus 130 listed on the Roborock, we were not able to get it beyond 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the Roborock will get stuck on some French carpets, as we had mentioned in the beginning of our video. The good news is that the Roborock should be able to fix these issues with additional software updates. However, my unit is fully updated and I still have these problems with things like the fringes as well as socks. And just this simple breakdown in terms of it not being able to finish this session leaves me a little bit disappointed, because the Roborock costs so much money that it should be able to handle anything I throw at it. I shouldn't have to compromise, in my opinion. When you see them side by side, the Dreame will activate its light more often, even if it's a bright surface, just so it can see underneath your furniture, something that my Roborock did not do. And in terms of decisiveness, both the Dreame as well as the Roborock will be very decisive as it manages corners and different surfaces. Here you see me using it on kitchen tile, and both are going to do a good job getting underneath each of the crevices. And I really do think that the Roborock is great for kitchen tile because the Vibrance just does a really good job cleaning my floors. With that said, I noticed that the Dreame was going to handle a task faster just because of the additional benefits of its AI detection system. And this is where we're leading to. Software has become so paramount to the overall performance of these units that you can't discount the effectiveness of the software when you're deciding which one to get for yourself. A simple under cabinet test with the Dreame X40 shows that it is able to kick out all of the debris. It's going to see it, and then it's going to go back and pick it all up. This is where these front-facing cameras really make a difference, because it can start seeing debris as well as dust on the floor. And the Roborock S8 MaxV here is going to see the train, and it does a good job avoiding the train entirely, but it does pull the train tracks just because the train tracks can get caught on its wheels. Nevertheless, it did manage this trains very well. It also did a good job managing the chair legs as well as my kitchen table. So right now, both of them are cleaning their mop pads. Now, our Dreame removed its mop pads because we're going to send it out just for vacuuming. Now it's time to discuss the differences in terms of the app experience. So this is going to be the Roborock app. You're just going to connect to it and you just open it up. So the map will update with cleaning, start full cleaning to create a map of all rooms identified. So you want to, after you do a quick map, this is the map it created in about 10 minutes. You can see the time it took it, 10 minutes. It is relatively accurate. You can see the map that the Dreame made. This one is much more accurate because it finished multiple sessions. We've used it for about 12 hours already in total cleaning time. So you can see how accurate that one is. And we'll see if there's going to be a difference here. If you look at your detailed clean history, you get a really good view of how both of these units work. So if you're looking at the Roborock, you can see the pathing that it does and how it separates the rooms. I actually created the rooms on the Roborock versus the Dreame. That's what it did on the first run. So you can see the result. It identifies obstacles on the floor and marks them. And there's a lot more identification on your Dreamebot versus the Roborock. When you go into the mode to decide which mode you want to go, we're going to hit here, and then if you can either do it smart plan, you can control the suction power, you have the scrub intensity and water flow, you have the cleaning count, you have the route in case you want to do it faster or do it more complete. For mopping, you can control the scrub intensity as well as the water flow and the cleaning count and the route. For vacuuming, you have four different suction modes and turbo. You can also customize and edit it based on your room. But for us, we're just going to do regular. We're going to do regular suction power. Water flow intensity is middle, cleaning count, and normal. So on the Dreame, So you have vacuum, mop, vac and mop after vac. So that means it can remove its pads. You have quiet, standard, turbo, max. You also have varying levels of wetness. You can do mop washing frequency and then the root. Now in terms of the mop then vac, you can control the suction power from quiet, standard, turbo, max. Max Plus has the suction power will increase to the highest level, which is in a single use mode. And you can control how frequently you want the mop pad to be cleaned. In terms of Clean Genius, it just does everything for you automated. Both the Roborock and the Dreame will both come with different floor cleaning settings that you can adjust how much or how aggressive you want your units to work. You can adjust how much water it uses, how much solution it uses, how long the drying time should be. You have a lot of customization on both, but I find that for a lot of us, we're probably going to just be using them specifically for this feature. So this is the camera on the Roborock. The Dreame is also going to have a 480p vision camera, and the difference comes down to the Roborock is going to be better at just making sure all your data stays in one place, while the Dreame can send your data out, so you might want to turn that off. So what is our ultimate verdict? The Dreame X40 Ultra is the superior RoboVacuum to the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra. And that's not to say the Roborock is not a great RoboVacuum on its own. It's just that it has some limitations, and I don't want to compromise at this price point because these are supposed to be the best of the best. It is like a Lamborghini versus a Ferrari. I don't want to say one is so much better than the other, but in this case, because the software is better on the Dreame, it really does outperform the Roborock specifically because of the software. And I think those mop extend brushes is superior than that little pad that they give you on the side of the Roborock. And honestly, the Dreame is going to do a better job at mapping your home and finishing its sessions, which ultimately comes down to trust. I sent out the Roborock on 3 different occasions and it didn't finish its session, which left me a little sour tasted. But the Dreame, from day one, it has finished every single session, and I can't say that about any other RoboVacuum. So with that, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like and subscribe button because it really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. Bye, bye, bye.